Got my number figured out. A motive born in drought and brevity. And if I'm not the soul of your design, I blatantly decline your remedy. Don't box me in. Don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free. I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen. I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean. I'd rather be a poser in a magazine. I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. Wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie. And I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a golden gun inside of me. Don't box me in. Don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free. I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen. I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean. I'd rather be a poser in a magazine. I'd rather be pretty much anything else. And if I fall behind, ignoring all the signs, if I lose the fight, I still rage against the night. Don't box I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free. I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen. I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean. I'd rather be a poser in a magazine. I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. Simple, dear, I'll still be here when you're gone. You gather souvenirs, but I will never be your pawn, your pawn, your pawn. My love was in
Welcome to the Monday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome, as awesome as a weekend as possible. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. Welcome everybody. It's been quite the amount of stuff that's happened. So we're going to talk about it. Thank you all for being here. Cognizant, welcome, and thank you so much for the support. I appreciate it. Thank you. Coming in with a tier 1 sub for 37 months. Thank you so much. How's it hanging? Oh, it's going. Thank you. I'm finally out of the hospital. Well, that's good to hear. That is very, very important. Good to hear. Stroke 10 months ago. Yeesh, that's rough. Nadia, welcome. John Lithium, welcome. Michael Hassler, welcome. Ladybug, welcome. I hope everyone's doing all right. We've got a couple of things to talk about today, and then we're gonna get out of here because it's super cold and I am incredibly tired. I gotta store up this energy for tomorrow. So, thankfully, the big blizzard or snowstorm, winter storm, whatever you want to call it, didn't actually impact us as much as it was expected. We were expecting a catastrophic impact, the likes that we haven't seen in decades, supposedly. That actually never materialized. We were, I wouldn't say completely fine, but relatively untouched. The areas around were pretty impacted. We had a lot of downed trees in the county. A lot of people with downed power lines. But we ourselves here, we're relatively unaffected, so that's kind of pretty impressive, I would say. The Beanie's doing work today. Yeah, the Beanie's gonna take over the stream. Let the Beanie just do the thing. Yeah. I can't give a duck. I'll just give you one of these. How about that? Okay. Alright, folks, let's get started because we want to get out of here and get some food. We're having another snow day today. Yeah. That's it's supposedly there's more winter weather coming next week. So it might be a repeat of what was supposed to happen this weekend. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see how bad it is on our neck of the woods, but stay safe out there. I know that we're relatively unharmed and relatively fine, but some folks really got it bad, so stay safe out there. That bad. It's pretty that was a pretty good dad joke. Okay, it was a series of dad jokes. There's a series of dad jokes. Berlin has gotten that much snow. I mean, I honestly, I wasn't even like, if it was just a bunch of snow, it'd be fine. The issue was like the ice that was predicted was going to be pretty bad, but it just ended up being a lot of rain. I was in a coma 5 years ago today. Yeesh. Well, I'm glad everything is okay, and I'm glad you're here. All right, folks. It's time to get started. Thank you all for being here. If you want to support the channel, there are the links. Check out all the things and all the stuff. Join the Discord. Check out my show on this space tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And go subscribe. We got a lot of snow. Oof. I mean, I'm down with snow. I'm okay with that. A benefit of the greenhouse effect. Yeah, this actually is. It is. Alright, folks. Let's get started real quick. Yeah, good for it. Really, it's pretty. We got pretty lucky, I would have to say. I would have to say, very, very lucky. Bruno, welcome. I just managed to arrive to Polymarket Studios live from Polymarket Studios. That's so funny.
Democratic representative who's been watching minorities get brutalized by ICE for the past year. Oh shit! Oh, god damn! They are so underfunded. Oh, wow.
This is unconstitutional. We must protect our democracy.
Great. How are you going to do that?
Justice will be served.
Cool. When?
This is not who we are as a country.
Okay.
We need to save America.
Yes, we agree. Go do that.
I just need $5.
Slavery lasted over 200 years. Because progress takes time.
You know how many strongly worded letters I could write with this bad boy?
We're the Democrats. We protect trans people. Or protect sports from trans people. What the is gonna make y'all for us? You're so needy!
A woman's right to choose is so important, and we're trying to legislate that. But it's a tough and difficult process.
I just passed the Fuck You Die Act. It's an act where you get fucked and die.
You can't afford a single-payer system.
Average. This is pretty on point. Hans, welcome at 25 degrees, so not a lot of it's melting. Eesh. It's about, it's close to that over here. It's like, what, 20 something? Did you see the Heritage Foundation announcing their plan to roll out The Handmaid's Tale? That's been like their project since like the beginning. That's been like their project since its inception. The Heritage Foundation. I don't even know like how the Heritage Foundation has been trying to do this, and I have no idea why or how it's not illegal. But okay.
System. We just can't. It's just too much money, and we
Hey
have.
there, if you join my new personal army, you get paid $100,000 each and $50,000 sign-on bonus, and you get to kidnap people and you can kill people.
Guys, I'm just a widow baby. I can't do anything. I can't pass anything. I can't do anything. I'm just a little baby.
I can do literally anything.
$1 trillion to Israel.
$1 trillion to Israel.
You just watched a short compilation of hilarious Gen Z TikTokers that I put together who tried to satirize the modern day Democratic Party. And I mean no disrespect when I say try, because those skits were great. It's just that we've reached a point where the Democratic Party's supposed resistance to Trump's fascism is so embarrassingly pathetic that it's almost impossible to parody them because their behavior is indistinguishable from satire at this point. Take this 2020 tweet from Ben Rosen, for example, where in response to Republicans having the military abduct protesters and throw them in unmarked vans, he says the Democratic Party's response would be to mark the vans. And that's essentially their response to Trump's ICE Gestapo, because rather than calling for the entire agency to be abolished, which is what we all want, here's just one of the solutions that they've cooked up.
So I have legislation that would require.
This is the type of stuff like this is the type of stuff that should make anyone's blood boil. I remember I didn't even bother covering this because this nearly made me crash out in IRL. Okay, the Dems largely did that. Yep.
ICE agents and Border Patrol to wear uniforms that contain QR codes, which you could scan from a distance to avoid physical contact with those officers. And that would generate a digital ID that would contain the name of the officer, the badge number, and the agency to which the officer belongs.
I'm a crash out.
And that would bring greater accountability and transparency to policing.
Do you see what I mean?
This is indistinguishable from parody. This is hilarious and absolutely 100% true. Yep. AOC keeps saying abolish ICE. Yeah. Anyone who anyone at this point in time who's saying who's not saying abolish ICE meaning anyone who is not in favor of dismantling the Gestapo is not they're just not qualified. They're just not eligible. Sorry. There should be no candidates that we support that don't at least have, that is like the bare minimum. Like the bare minimum of how we should be operating is abolishing the Gestapo, and these are not controversial positions to have, and accountability. There will be trials, there will be investigations, there will be criminal charges to anyone who's involved from top to bottom on this whole operation. Anyone who's been involved in the violation of rights, anyone who's been involved in any of this needs to be investigated, arrested, tried, etc. That's not like these aren't controversial. These aren't controversial positions to have at all. Have you heard about the TikTok has been taken over by MAGA corporations? Yes, they sold, or they bought it. Cat, welcome. Old Owl Hooten, hello everyone. Does anyone else remember that we're supposed to hate Nazis? Yeah, we kind of forgot that little part in the history lessons. It's as it seems. As it turns out. Oh my goodness, here we go. As it turns out, we forgot that little part in history. Correction, they shouldn't be controversial statements, but they are. Yep. Sick puppy. I grew up in Belfast, Ireland during the war. That's what they suggested and did to the paramilitary police to force the RUC in the 90s as they murdered us. TikTok is now state-owned media thanks to Biden. Thanks, dude. True Progressive, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that.
You're beyond parody. Like, imagine doing that in real life. Excuse me, officer, do you mind holding still while I scan your QR code? Because I do want to report you to Secretary Kristi Noem immediately, and I'm sure she will take disciplinary action when she finds out how uncouth your behavior has been, sir. Like, bro, they're going to tell you to fuck off and then blast you in the face point blank with chemical weapons. What is this supposed to accomplish? I mean, the thought process that goes into some of these solutions that they cook up is just mind-boggling to me.
The thought process is not there. The thought process is that they don't give a crap. That's the thought process. I recommend fleeing the country. Not being able to save everyone is not an excuse to save no one. Yeah, I mean, if you... The thing is, like, yeah, sure, if you can. But if you can't, you know, my thing is, like, I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm saying, like, why should we have to go? Why should we have to go? Why can't the fascists fuck off? You know what I mean? And some of us can't. Like, literally, some of us have family that we have to take care of. Some of us just physically don't have the money for it. Some of us just can't. I mean, if you can and you want to and you are able to, sure, absolutely, why not? Your codes will give them cancer, though. Yeah, literally.
This is the game that Democrats always play. A popular sentiment emerges. This time it's a call for abolishing ICE. And
the thought process is to pacify you. Agreed.
Rather than riding that wave, Democrats find a way to suppress that popular movement. They did this with Medicare for All. They did this with marijuana legalization. They even did it with a literal genocide in Gaza. And as Michael Denzel Smith put it in this op-ed for The Intercept, abolish ICE is more popular than ever. How will Democrats drop the ball this time? Yeah. And I love how there's not even an assumption by anyone anymore, including journalists, that Democrats are going to even try to do the right thing or even the politically smart thing, because we all know that there's no point in getting our hopes up because they simply won't. They will not do what we want under any circumstances ever. As Russell Payne of Salon reports, Democratic leadership is explicitly opposing calls to abolish ICE in favor of reforms. And Michael Denzel
just to
Smith...
be clear, like, there is no reforming ICE, okay? Like, this country has existed for hundreds of years before ICE, okay? I'm older than ICE. ICE doesn't need to exist, okay? ICE can be dissolved tomorrow and the country will still function. So yeah, I like this objection to abolishing ICE is wild. Like you could almost understand the objections to maybe defunding the police or whatever. Like you can almost like understand the gears turning behind something like that, but like abolishing ICE is not the same. Abolishing ICE is literally just like, hey man, can we get rid of the secret police, please? Can we get rid of the Gestapo killing people in the middle of the street in broad daylight? Can we get rid of the Gestapo that doesn't need to exist, that hasn't existed for the overwhelming majority of the lifespan of the country? Can we just get rid of that? They're literally killing people in the streets. They're killing people in detention centers and concentration camps. That is uncontroversial. That is the least controversial thought process ever, right? Like this is like hemming and hawing about abolishing the Gestapo in the 30s or whatever. Like, okay, dude, whatever. Heat, how's it going? Democratic voters don't even want ICE to be reformed. They want it to be extinguished. I agree. Manju Misty, welcome. There have been enough casualties already. Abolish ICE. I agree. And any candidate that's not running on that, any candidate that is not, this is just bare minimum stuff, okay? Like, again, for us to move forward, or for us to be able to move forward, this has to end. This has to end. And there has to be accountability when this is all over. It used to be the INS, Immigration and Naturalization Services. Yep. It's not that what it brings justice to the world is what they're going to do, either slaughter or subject people to the most horrific subjugation and pressing into services with yeah, I've seen the I mean, just to kind of like touch on that, like the stuff that's been happening, not just like this this severely misogynistic stuff that these people are bringing with the, as you mentioned earlier, with like the Heritage Foundation and stuff like that, but they're like torturing people in these concentration camps, like not to say too much for YouTube or whatever, but like they're doing like really bad stuff. Like they're doing SA stuff in these concentration camps, to say the least. Gestapo is the SS before it gained that nickname, the Schutzstaffel. Yeah, they were different, bro, right? Or was the Schutzstaffel part of the Gestapo, or were they like different? Because like it just means secret police, right? It's just like the it's just the abbreviation for secret police. ICE is not there to protect life or property. Law enforcement should at least focus on that, not killing people. Well, I mean, law enforcement should be arresting ICE. Imagine that the police in China or Japan don't even carry firearms. Yeah, because they don't need to. Like they don't even need to.
It explains that other Democrats in prominent positions of power are also
I think
on
they
the
were
same
different departments. Gotcha. This
page.
makes sense.
He writes, few, if any, of the Democratic Party's power brokers are willing to side with the likes of progressives like Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who has held steadfast in her support of shutting ICE down. Senator Chris Murphy, the top Democrat on Appropriations Subcommittee, which oversees the Department of Homeland Security's budget, told protesters outside of an ICE office in Washington that their goal should be to make ICE comply with the law. Representative Darren...
They're not complying with the law. Like, what do you... This is the kind of stuff that makes me crash out, okay? Like, this is the kind of stuff that makes me crash out harder than like the heinous stuff that like Republicans do, because like these people are the ones that are telling us with smiles and with empathy, or pretending to have empathy, that they're gonna help. But they're killing people. Like, what do you mean that they have to respect the law? They're killing people. Yeah, they think that they're above the law. That's right. Law enforcement just protects capital. True. I appreciate that, Heat. It's true. I am very, very freezing over here. That's right. ICE never complied with the law. They stemmed this from the Patriot Act. Yes, ICE was born out of the GWAT, Global War on Terror. My off the top of my head recall may be wrong about that. I've got a feeling that you're right, because like I've got a feeling that you're right, because I think that the Gestapo specifically was like the secret police, right? Like the kind of people that you didn't want to see. Like the SS was more visible with SS uniforms and stuff like that. But anyways, DHS, which ICE is a part of, was created after by the Bush administration after 9/11. Yep. ICE is in direct violation of the Constitution. I agree. They don't give two. They don't give two craps about that. But Trump squared his law now, and they're complying with that. True. The GWAT. That's right. Welcome, Bella Lugrisi. That's right. ICE was born out of that.
Soto dismissed the idea of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus working to terminate ICE. So after the ICE Gestapo, which is President Neck Pussy's personal paramilitary at this point, executed a person in broad daylight and continues to terrorize communities by going door to door to hunt down immigrants, Democrats...
Tropical Ding Dong, welcome. It is a rough weekend. ICE is a white supremacist militia LARPing as slave catchers. Yep.
So-called resistance aren't even willing to entertain the idea of abolishing ICE. Even the mayor of the city that is currently being occupied is opposed to the idea.
Do you support abolishing ICE?
Like, these people are so like spineless cowards that they can't even go on TV and say, because they're scared. They're scared of like what, some kind of political backlash or whatever. Like, what are you talking about? What is exactly like the plan here? Manda, welcome. Like you being scared of some kind of like political backlash for saying abolish ICE, when in reality, like, everyone wants to abolish ICE because they're literally killing people. This was 4 days ago, okay? We haven't even gotten to the incident that happened just the day before yesterday or something like that. We haven't even gotten to that yet. At all. Like, this was released before that, I think, wasn't it? Anyways. Saturday morning, yes.
I do not support abolishing ICE. However, I absolutely oppose the way that this administration is conducting themselves with ICE.
So he's not opposed to the existence of ICE per se. It's just that he's opposed to the way that the Gestapo is doing Gestapo-like things. Mind you, he's not going to do anything to stop the things that they're doing that he does.
This is the kind of stuff, man. This is the kind of stuff I'm a crash the like. This is exactly why I didn't want to go over the clip of Richie Torres literally suggesting that one of the reforms that we can do, that one of the reforms we can do is to add QR codes. This is the kind of stuff, man. I'm telling you. This shit is so bad that even a pacifist I know is having violent thoughts. Yeah, I agree. Weak, indeed. Of course, Trump will defund anyone who goes public with abolishing ICE. Yeah, and so be it. Let them, okay? Let them. Let push the administration. I agree with you, Cognizant, that the Trump administration is going to punish people who say things like this. The Trump administration is going to attack people who say things like this. But make them do this. It's okay to crash out, I think. Yeah. Absolutely, like, the most valid crash out. Base Thermal, the most justified crash out. Base Thermal, welcome and thank you for the follow. Globus the Elder, welcome from the snowy north, the real north. Remember, ice can be dangerous salt when necessary. Yes, of course. I agree. What has he done to AOC? He's tried to, like, sick his disgusting freaks on her by saying, "Oh, what a disgusting woman! You know, crazy AOC." Well, there was a time where he constantly, like, tweeted about her or whatever, but he hasn't really said much about AOC lately.
Doesn't like, aside from using naughty words, but even that is a little bit too extreme for our liberal media establishment.
You went on national television and you said to ICE, Get the F out of Minneapolis.
Oh no, he said a bad word, chat. He said the bad word.
Do you
he
regret
said the
that
bad word.
language? I mean, that doesn't sound like turning the temperature down.
Mr. Mayor, sir.
Oh my God. That doesn't sound like turning the temperature down. Does that man, like, is that, how does that guy sleep at night? How does that guy sleep at night? Mr. Mayor, sir, is using the F word really a way of turning down the temperature as the fascist president sends fascist thugs to kill people in your streets? Is that really the appropriate response, Mr. Mayor, by saying the F word, okay, as your constituents are dying? You know, Mr. Mayor, is that really the correct language to approach here? Ooh boy. Ooh. Okay. We're just gonna keep going. You know what other parties besides the NSA did in 1930s Germany? A lot of them folded, or a lot of them joined them, or got killed. Okay. Well, the parties that existed in the 1930s, once the Nazi Party actually took power, they were either dissolved or redacted, or they joined or they were conservative parties that were friendly to the and NSDAP anyways. Yeah, let legacy media die. AOC has been repeating abolish ICE. I agree, and I think every single Democrat should be doing the same thing, and that's not even controversial. The same way he turns a blind eye to the Gaza genocide. Yep. After banning the only genuine opposition to KPD, the Communist Party, they either mass resigned or joined the NSDAP. Yeah, they or they died. Yeah, or they got redacted. Yeah. Either they joined them, or left, or they were redacted. Yes, PD got jailed. A lot of anyone who is perceived to be socialist, communist, working class party, anything like that, they were immediately targeted. Immediately once they got into power. Which is worse, dropping the F-bomb or shooting somebody in the face? Yeah, truly real questions that we have to ask ourselves here. Latex, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it.
You said that the gas chambers are, quote, fucking killing people, it seems. Is it really necessary to use such profanity when describing mass atrocities? Like, this is part of the reason why our so-called opposition party is so weak, because the remaining non-conservative media institutions that we still have are focused on tone policing the meaningless gestures of useless politicians and treating their inaction as if even that is too much. The ICE Gestapo is going door to door, and they are now executing people in the streets and strangling people in concentration camps. I think it's time to wake the fuck up and stop worrying about trivial things like language.
But, yeah, exactly. Like, listen, folks. Hey, you wake up, folks, especially the people that don't understand. Especially the people that don't understand or are more normie-like, okay? Folks, if there's anything that you can do is spread the word and talk to people, okay? Talk to the normies who don't really grasp the concept of what's happening here because they just don't pay attention to the news. It's not happening in their town, so they don't know what's going on. This is the time, okay? Hey, you want to know what you would be doing in 1920s Germany before it became too late, okay? This is the kind of stuff. This is it. Wake up. This is it. And it's time to everyone who is not a Nazi, okay? Everyone who is not a Nazi and not a fascist, it's time to lock arms and stand together in solidarity, because that's the only way that we are going to make it through this. Because I listen, folks, we can make it through this. Flow Snake, welcome. Dead Pixel, welcome. Let me just say hello to a couple of people. I don't know if I said thank you, but thank you for the follow. Latex, Drool Music, I appreciate that. There's a famous German Lutheran pastor quote that says that. Yep. The first they came. Coming to a town near you. Yep. This is the type of stuff that normies need to be listening to and paying attention to, okay? This is the time. Now is the time to stand up, lock arms shoulder to shoulder, and tell these people to F off, okay? Nazis and these fascists, they are cowards, okay? They only have the power that we give them, okay? Listen to me, folks. They only have the power that we give them, okay? If we are too busy, and I don't mean that like in a negative way. I mean like if we are being too overpowered with anxiety, then their plan is working. If we are being too overpowered into either just disassociating and being apathetic, and just keeping our heads down and being quiet, then they have won. Okay? And then they have won. Because if you stand up to them, these people are just small men, okay? With egos that are much bigger than they are, okay? And if you've ever known somebody or dealt with a bully yourself, the bullying doesn't stop until you stand up to them, okay? Because they will immediately fold. Bullies are cowards, okay? Bullies are cowards. So stand together. Has anybody ever watched... this is kind of a silly question. But has anyone ever watched A Bug's Life? Anyone remember the scene where the grasshoppers kind of give the viewer the plan? That's the kind of stuff, folks. Okay? I saw it once. I barely remember it. So just welcome, Anna. Just to kind of refresh. The grasshoppers are kind of discussing stuff, and one of them was like, "Hey, you know, it's just one little ant, okay? Like, who cares if one little ant stands up to us?" And the lead grasshopper throws one little, seed at him, and he says, "Well, one ant, sure, can't stand up to us." And then he unloads all the seeds and smothers the guy. But if you let all of them stand up to you, there goes our way of life. Bullies only like soft targets. It's why you don't see ICE or CBP going into actual gang territory. 100%. 100%. So, exactly. They are cowards, okay? If you stand up to bullies, they will fold. They will fold. You're talking about how ants and Bugs Life are anarcho-communists? I think there's a lot of, like, heavy left-wing ideology within that movie. It's awesome, and I love the fact that this is the type of stuff that defined my childhood, is just to listen to that and movies like Fern Gully. But that was just kind of like a sidetrack. Welcome, Doomerkist. Yeah, these movies teach class solidarity. Yep. Great movie about organizing and unionizing.
That's the thing. They're never going to wake up. And Democrats aren't thinking of ways that they're going to use their eventual power to carry out the will of the people, because they're instead trying to find ways to meet the fascists halfway and then subsequently pitch said collaboration with fascists to us as progress. So that way we feel like we're getting something from them. Case in point, just listen to 2028 frontrunner Gavin Newsom's embarrassing capitulation to Ben Shapiro.
AOC said this week that ICE should be abolished. You disagree?
Oh, I disagree when I think a candidate for president by the name of Harris said that.
Ooh, No, get this guy out of here. Get this guy out of here. Yeah, we can do a movie night. We can probably, I can probably try to find A Bug's Life, and put that one on the queue. Last movie event we did was Sorry to Bother You, and that was a pretty good and a pretty good and wonky anti-capitalist movie. But yeah, Bug's Life can definitely be put on the queue for movie night. It's not like we got it's not like we have a lack of choices. We got plenty of content. F this guy won't be the nominee. The majority are sick of his authoritarian and supremacist positions. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna go far either. As far as like the primaries go. In fact, I think that he should just not even bother. Yeah, Newsom. I think he should not even bother running. Like, seriously, we need an actual progressive candidate that cares about working class issues. And that's the ticket. Like the Mamdani effect is what we need. I think he's the best chance we've got not to get more MAGA. No, I don't think so. I think it's completely the opposite. It's completely the opposite. I think that we need a Mamdani. We need a Mamdani candidate that can run for president. If ICE is abolished, its functions will be transferred to another agency. Maybe if we write it in a way that just the Immigration and Custom Agency as it exists should just be terminated. Okay, all agents disbanded, and the type of immigration function that ICE does, and I'm using that word that term loosely, is no longer going to be a part of how we do immigration. Anything that has to do with immigration will just be delegated to Customs and Border Patrol, which will remain at the borders, and that's about it. That's just another Bernie that will end up being a primary non-starter. I disagree. I disagree 1000%, because Bernie could have absolutely won a general election. Okay, just because there's a difference between. There's a difference between a primary election, which is like a party like formality, really, a party formality, versus like an actual general election. Someone like Bernie Sanders would have absolutely won the general election. So I think that Newsom would be a terrible mistake. I think that we need an unapologetic, actual working class progressive candidate that is willing to take to not just provide a alternative to Trumpism or whatever's coming, because let's be honest, Trump's not going to be here that long. Okay, Trump is not going to be here that long. So whoever's going to try to take up that mantle, okay, this faux populism, which is just fascism on the right. You need to provide an answer to that, but you also need to acknowledge and provide a different alternative to the status quo now, because people aren't having it. I think of a Mamdani candidate won, and he made sure to have lots of fireside chats. We'll be surprised about how much support they get from the general public. I agree. Sam Cedar 2028, I would agree. Please tell me how you know the future, and why didn't you use that ability to fix the last terrible election? Because we tried. The last terrible election was all Democrats' fault. They blew it. They blew it. They tried to run. Actually what happened in the last election was, I would say, overwhelmingly Biden's fault, by the way. For wanting to continue to run when he didn't have to run, and leaving the only person able to run would be Kamala Harris. Which is wild. So I don't think that's a good. In fact, you're probably proving my point, right? You're proving my point. Like Joe Biden was such an unpopular president that he would have lost to Trump. So that's solidifying my position. He said he'd be a one-term president. I agree. Or at least his staff did, or some kind of rumors or whatever. But anyways, he should have been a one-time president. He should have stepped down and understood that he did his time, and that's it. Biden's mistake was pride before competence. Yep. Yeah, there's no open Democratic primary. I agree. Turns out running Biden 2.0 after Biden 1.0 was not a great move. Yeah. A Mamdani type candidate would never be funded by the DNC. I agree. So we have to be above that. And if the DNC doesn't want to play ball, then that shows that the Democratic Party is just going to lose over and over and over again. They're just going to keep losing. Still not going to win with the Mamdani candidates popular among left but not center left, the DNC, or a lot of borderline voters. That's not true. That's not true at all. That's not true at all. Progressive politics are incredibly popular. Like, that's literally not true at all. You poll on how universal healthcare, you run on something like universal healthcare, you run on something like universal college or something like that. Speak to deep kitchen side issues, right? You're going to win. Popular among certain groups, yeah, like people who need healthcare, which is everyone. Like, this is not a difficult concept to understand. Everyone needs healthcare. If you run on a well planned out platform about how you're going to get people to healthcare, like Bernie did, it's incredibly popular. It's not for us, it's for the average voter. The average voter can understand. The average voter understands that you can make a plan, like, for example, slowly lowering the age of Medicare until you are able to expand it to everyone, and say it doesn't matter. Say it's in a 5-year term. Say it's in a 10-year frame timeline where it's set in law that by 2030 or 20 whatever, everyone is going to have healthcare slowly be brought in to Medicare. I mean, like, these things are not difficult for the average voter to understand. I don't understand why that would be difficult. Progressive policies always win. I agree. They're incredibly popular if you just run on them. Like, if that worked, if that worked, then why didn't Hillary Clinton win? And it's not because of the left. You can't blame that one. You can't even blame Kamala Harris's loss on the left either. Democrats are Conto Pro. They're the good cop, also conspiring against you. I think the characterization of good cop is pretty good. I think you can blame Harris's loss on Harris and Israel, yes, and the Democratic Party. They're the ones that blew it. Like, you can't blame the left TM for that. You can't blame progressives who didn't come out to vote on that. You can't blame people for voting third party, because that wasn't it either. So, like, and she didn't run on any type of progressive agenda at all. She didn't. She didn't run on any type of progressive agenda at all. She just wanted to continue. She wanted to continue the Biden legacy, and that was the problem. That was a big part of the problem. Nobody wanted that. Nobody wanted that.
In the last...
I understand what you're saying, Robs. I mean, like, obviously the Democrats and Republicans aren't the same TM. But seriously, the problem with the thing is, like, the reason why we see that and we feel that way is because at the end of the day, it's all capital. It's all the Democratic Party is captured by capital. It's not the fault of people who have ethical standards and the human decency. It's the fault of people who enable monsters. Yes, I agree. Harris also didn't help the immigrants off the bus at her house when she was sent there by DeSantis. Yeah, she was terrible on immigration too, because she chose a more law and order rhetoric instead of just saying, yeah, like 2019 Biden, okay? 2019 Biden that won the 2020 election was talking about, of course he never did this, but I'm saying 2019 Biden was talking about like path to citizenship. Like he was saying we should grant asylum to people, okay? 2019 Biden was talking about giving us giving asylum to people and working towards path to citizenship. Heard something interesting today. I've been able to confirm it. Apparently, Trump is willing to back down Minneapolis if they surrender all voter data. Yes, and we're going to talk about that. Yes.
Okay, baby. I came out. I remember being on Chris Hayes hours later saying, I think that's a mistake. So absolutely.
And then your press office tweeted out that it was state-sponsored terrorism, which, I mean, Governor, I do have to ask you about that. Yeah. That sort of thing.
It is I'm sorry, mass amnesty. Yes, thank you. Mass amnesty. 2019 Biden was talking like that, okay? And poof, where was that guy? Where was that guy when he won the election? Yeah, where was the guy trying to make a public option when he won the election? Yeah, so you can win on more progressive policy, but you gotta do it, or else people are not gonna like you. And then, you know, his approval rating started to plummet, and then it was completely cratered when he when he decided that genocide was more important than the fate of not just the fate of the Palestinian people, but the fate of our country too.
Our politics worse.
Yeah.
I mean, it does.
Yeah.
I mean, our ICE officers obviously are not terrorists.
They are.
A tragic situation is not state-sponsored terrorism.
I think
I agree. You think that Gavin Newsom is going to win the election? You think that Gavin Newsom is going to win the election when people are getting killed in the streets and he's going, yeah, Ben Shapiro, I don't think that they're terrorists. What? That Gavin Newsom is cooked.
Humiliating. This is supposed to be the next leader of the Democratic Party. Oh, and before that, Gavin Newsom was boasting about vetoing a bill that would have prevented him from cooperating with ICE. And at a different point in the podcast, Ben Shapiro got him to deny Israel's genocide in Gaza. Not that he ever recognized it in the first place, but he just explicitly said with his full chest that he disagrees with international human rights groups and scholars about what we can all see with our own eyes. Might as well eat out Ben's bussy while you're at it, Gavin, because you're very clearly willing to give him whatever he wants, because this is what Democrats do. But I just want to step back really and let what we just saw marinate for a second. The next potential leader of the Democratic Party is a genocide-denying fascist collaborator, and he's not doing this behind the scenes. We're not getting a report about this from an anonymous source. He is publicly doing this shit in front of our fucking eyes and expects people to vote for him.
Yep.
We're doing so great as a party.
Listen, if you want people to vote for you, then you've got to give them a reason to vote for you, okay? If your reason to vote for Gavin Newsom or whoever, it doesn't matter who the candidate is, really. If candidate X is talking about how he wants to work with the Trump administration, he wants to work with Republicans to just move forward as a country, okay? And there's nothing about accountability. There's nothing with recognizing what the realities of what happened here. Then they're just not going to win. You're giving people nothing. You're giving people nothing. If you want people to vote for you, you've got to give them something to vote for, okay? Otherwise, they are not going to show up. It's that simple, okay? It's that simple. If you don't give people a reason to vote for you, then they are going to stay home. It's that simple.
But let's humor Democrats for a second and assume that reforming ICE would actually suffice, even though that's not the case. But assuming that they're able to recapture control of the government, what kind of reforms would they actually propose to try to placate the base that's insisting that the entire agency be abolished? You would think it'd have to be pretty significant, so that way they at least try to meet us halfway, since they're not giving us what we want. Well, that's not actually the case. I say that because here's what Cory Booker, another influential Democrat who's probably going to run for president in 2028, is proposing.
We
must do more. The tragic death of Renee Good has brought into clear spotlight so many of the things the Trump administration is doing to make our communities less safe. I'm continuing to lead new legislation.
This guy's another one that's going to make me crash out. Because like sometimes like I listen to Cory Booker and I'm like, yes, someone gets it. And then immediately I'm reminded why these people piss me off.
Legislation that will bring further high professional standards and accountability to ICE officials. We must also set minimum training standards. We must ban the hiring of anyone affiliated with hate groups. We must hold agency leaders accountable. We must require every federal officer to wear a body-worn camera.
None of that is going to change if they're just killing people and no one's prosecuting. Like, none of that is going to change if the Department of Justice is not even going to investigate the shooting that killed Renee Good. Okay, none of those reforms are going to fix the fundamental problem, which is that this is a Gestapo that needs to be eliminated. Point blank, period. It's the politician's job to tell you why you should show up, and if they're just saying voters need to be better, you're part of the problem. Yeah, essentially, what I'm saying is yes, you need to give somebody a reason to vote. Like, that's the whole point of being a politician. Holy crap. Like, that is the whole point of being a politician, okay? Listen, I get it. The fascists are really bad, but we're going to need something better if we want to get people on our side. Does that make sense?
Bring public-facing enforcement actions and require that footage be preserved so that the truth can't be hidden or destroyed.
Yeah, except the problem is that the criminal who executed Renee Good, who the regime is now protecting, filmed himself doing it.
And then nothing happened. By the way, again, this is all before this weekend's incident, okay? This video came out before this weekend's incident.
Everybody is just denying what we all saw with our own eyes, so I'm not necessarily sure that more cameras are going to do the trick, especially given how police officers who do have them just turn them off before they commit crimes and brutalize people. Like, the regime told them that they have absolute...
You're pretending to be your friend like undercover cops do. What's up, woke losers? I'm announcing today that I will not attend the Super Bowl due to my hatred of Green Day. You know, I don't know them, but they're anti-American. I'm anti-them. Actual quote, by the way. I'm anti-them. And Bad Bunny, bad musicians. You know, one of them's not even American. Too far away. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Person who impressed me this last week was the Minnesota Attorney General. That guy should run for president. Another snake oil salesman, Dem Party, tried to make him a hero at the 24-hour filibuster. And anytime I hear a pastor politician, I feel that snake oil. No, but I mean, like, that was fine. And like I said, there's times where I listen to Cory Booker, I'm like, yes, and then like he quickly reminds me why I'm so angry at him.
Immunity, and they're very clearly protecting them even when they commit murder in broad daylight. So I feel like they're not going to be on their best behavior if they have body cameras. Oh, and I love the idea that ICE would somehow be better if they had more training. Actually, no, I don't think it's a good idea to give the Gestapo even more training.
Yeah, also, the people that have been committing these murders, for example, again, we haven't even gotten to this weekend's incident. The people that are committing these murders, okay, the guy that murdered Renee Good, the guy that murdered the guy that murdered Prietti, I can't remember his first name. I think it was Alex, but anyways, Mr. Prietti, the brave nurse who put himself, in between ICE and a woman to try to pick her up. They were all ICE agents that have been there for a long time, okay? So these were seasoned officers, okay? These people have been there 8-10 years, maybe. Yes, Alex Preddy. Do you ever watch Parkrose Permaculture on YouTube? Yep, big fan. Renee Goodman, Keith Porter. Yep. Alex Brady. They're a CBP, but ICE is the catch-all term for these thugs. Yeah, I mean, fundamentally, they're all kind of working for that, right? Because they're pulling people from HSI. I'm sorry, Renee Good. Yes. They're pulling people from HSI. They're pulling people from CBP. They're pulling people from all these agencies to act as immigration enforcement, essentially. I don't know what kind of timeline you think you can accomplish anything but real dictatorships last 50 years. Well, it's our job to make sure that doesn't happen. 2020 will be elections. Let's just get to 2026. let's just make it to the midterms. The big thing for 2028 really needs to be the Dems getting true left and dropping all the big talkers. I mean, yeah, we need to max left, unironically, like, and I'm not just saying this as like a partisan hack, okay? Because I am incredibly partisan, for a reason, okay? And I think I've done a good job at explaining why I believe the things that I do, and I think I've been doing a good job as to why I think the things that I do. So yeah, of course I'm extremely partisan, but unironically though, like, yeah, they really, not just because I'm on the left, but because it's just the right thing to do, right? Like, swinging to left-wing politics, I don't care how you brand it, I don't care what you call it, but swinging to left-wing politics, progressive politics, whatever you want to call it, is the way. It's not just because it's an electoral winner, it's because it's the right thing to do. You're not supposed to have ICE running the streets arresting brown people for papers. Yep. You're already in the dictatorship. The coup d'etat was Elon rigging it in 2024. Well, it's our job to break that. And again, these people are bullies, okay? These people are bullies, these people are thugs, and the only thing that breaks them is people standing up, okay? The thing that makes Donald Trump squirm, okay, and the thing that makes these fascists squirm is the videos of thousands and tens of thousands of people flooding the streets, okay? That's what makes them back down. It's the threat of labor unions getting organized and saying, you know what? We're gonna shut this thing down. Thank you for the follow, Swims with Whales. The timeline to break out of dictatorship has been 50 years. Yeah, I mean, but like, we still are able to do that before we are not we're still able to do stuff before we're not, before we're not, and until then it's go time, folks. It's shoulder locking arms and shoulder to shoulder, because appeasement, yes, Michael Richards, appeasement doesn't work. Pushing back and standing up and standing for your fellow neighbor, for your fellow citizen, that's what that's what breaks them. I believe in universal meeting of needs and transforming our society from one that allows to hoard and watch others go without into one that instills in every member of society a fiduciary responsibility to every other member of society. Yeah, and I think that's pretty cool. I like that. I like that. It's pretty rooted into old indigenous concepts from back then and now. People getting arrested for having an accent. The Gestapo shit is this. Yep. Modern day slave catching. You think racism is bad now? Let Nick Fuentes get elected president. Please don't speak that into existence. No,
it's not that, you know, they don't know how to de-escalate. It's that they want to escalate because this entire organization is composed of complete extremists who are beholden to Donald Trump. Like, they are seeking out people who are extreme. As for holding these Nazis accountable, in theory, that one actually sounds great. But the devil is in the details. What kind of accountability are we talking about here? And for the record, I do understand that Democrats wouldn't be able to abolish ICE now, even if they wanted to, but we're asking them in the short term to at least try to fight. Use the little leverage that they have to try to claw back at least some of the funding and do something to try to ensure that there's a little bit of accountability in the short term until they can retake power.
Yeah, like, I think that obviously I don't expect the Dems to do anything, assuming that they win anything in these elections. I suspect that they'll win the House, but I'm not confident that they will win the Senate. I don't expect them to do anything. Honestly. However, should they win power, real power, the accountability that is going to be that needs to happen will be monumental. Okay, I'm talking like 180. Like, I'm talking people need to go to jail. I'm talking like Nuremberg trial on steroids type stuff. That's what I'm talking about. He's failing at this critical moment. I agree. Tim Moles, like, it complete, like, the only acceptable answer, the only acceptable response that Tim Walz could have done was activate the National Guard and protect people from ICE. They'd be pretty quickly to try to de-escalate if they were unarmed. Yep. There'll be not a second Operation Paperclip to repurpose these Nazis. We can't allow them. Yeah. Like, no. We're talking actual accountability, okay? Like, actual accountability. Otherwise, this country's cooked. If there comes a time, okay? If there comes a time where Democrats have actual power and there is no accountability, then like, it's done. It's done. They can just do it all over again next time. I also saw the thing about the National Guard giving out donuts. Yep. I saw that too. I'm right if Trump and Noam and leave it, do all 0 prison time after Nuremberg 2.0. The Dems are all undercover agents. When called upon by their paymasters, they'll flip to be as far right as Fuentes and Theo. I think some of them are. I think like the ones that are just empty suits are definitely like that. They have already done that at least 4 times. They got in power, foolest thrice. No, I mean like this country cannot. I mean this country cannot move forward if that doesn't happen. Like, this is beyond. Like, if there's no accountability for this, it's there. Then it's just gonna happen again, and worse. And the stuff of nightmares, of real nightmares, will be possible. Okay. If a National Guard soldier offered you a donut, would you take an old-fashioned style or glazed donut? Glazed donut is the only correct answer.
But they're not even doing the bare minimum. They're proposing useless half measures to make it look like they're doing something so we stop nagging them. But to add insult to injury, they're not even willing to fight for the half measures that they're proposing to try to placate us.
And just to be clear, our job is to keep nagging, okay? If it doesn't matter who wins, okay? It doesn't matter who wins because our job stays the same. Our mission is the same. But we are perpetual naggers, okay? We are perpetual naggers. We want Medicare for all. We want universal college. We want to make sure that people have housing. We want to make sure we have food. People have food. Universal childcare. We can't stop. It is a perpetual path. Okay, a wheel, I should say, not a path, a wheel that we keep spinning until we have a semblance of a functioning society. Okay, and just to be clear, those things that I named are not even that much. Okay.
Like, listen to what Booker said when he was asked about potentially shutting down the government to force Republicans to include accountability measures in their upcoming appropriations bill. Just get a load of this shit.
So we could say things like shutting down the government. We saw what happened. We had the longest government shutdown in a while. Democrats could not hold together to sustain that kind of pressure. What I am saying right now is we, the people, because the power of the people is greater than the people in the power, more people are going to have to put pressure.
Yeah, bro. I agree. Just one little. You're a senator, bro. I don't know if somebody informed Senator Booker, but he's a senator in a representative, quote, democracy. So in case Senator Booker has forgotten, people voted him in to represent them. You see? So he needs to do something about it. Yeah, housing, utility, healthy food, clean water, education, and healthcare, human rights, full stop. Yeah, and that's not, again, that's not even that controversial or impossible to do, even within the system that we have now. Okay? None of that is impossible. Oh. Look, this is how freaking triggered I'm getting. None of this is impossible, even within the system that we have now. Okay? Speak to how the government won't do anything about housing, but when community groups build micro-housing and street soup kitchens, the right comes and regulates it away. Yep, as the right wing does.
On Republicans who are getting closer and closer to their re-elections.
It's so sad, it's almost funny. Why would we expect the people in power to do something when we all know that that's the job of the people that know power? They're the ones who have to step up and pressure Republicans, not senators. And I mean, if he really believed that, then wouldn't he want to use the connections and power that he has as a senator to get labor leaders and faith leaders and activists together?
Yes, that's what he should be doing, because he's a representative of the people. The people put him there to represent them. So, okay, let's just
formulate some kind of a plan to actually apply pressure on this regime? Well, of course not, because he doesn't want to...
Thank you, Flo Snake. Appreciate that.
Set the expectation too high and get people to think that senators are actually supposed to do things. That would be crazy. Look, at this point, I'm sure that we're all well aware of the game that they play every single time, right? They coast by doing less than the bare minimum until the next election, and then they cross their fingers and hope that by then Americans are so tired of Republican fuckery that they come running back to Democrats with open arms at the next election. In fact,
which is under, like, I get that, okay? And listen, I get that, because the Republican Party is inexcusable, okay? There's zero reason to vote for a Republican, okay? Zero. There's no reason, unless you're like a fascist bootlicker, okay? There's no reason to vote for Republican, and they understand that. However, as it turns out, and this is like a wild, you know, this is a wild finding of mine. Okay, everyone should keep the secret, especially keep the secret from the Democrats. But as it turns out, you need people to come out to vote for you. I know it's a wild revelation. But as it turns out, you need people to come out and vote for you. And if people don't come out and vote for you, then this is crazy. This is crazy. You won't win elections, dude.
The more pain Republicans cause, the more opportunities Democrats will have to fundraise off of our anger. Mark Kelly can send us 5 more text messages a day about how the Trump administration is politically persecuting him. Alyssa Slotkin can text us again and tell us that a $25 donation is going to help her fight Trump even harder. Fascism is a boon to their business, and everybody knows it.
And just to be clear, like, yeah, of course, whatever you think about Alyssa CIA Slotkin, understood. But of course, the regime is turning its Department of Justice against perceived, notice the word, perceived political opponents. Yeah, that's what authoritarian regimes do. Okay? Yeah, and that's bad. Okay? I don't care for Alyssa Slotkin, but the point being is that, yes, of course, Trump is weaponizing the DOJ to go after political opponents. Okay? We're going to talk about that in a second, too. We haven't even finished this, but yeah, of course the DOJ is being weaponized against perceived political opponents. So what are you going to do about it?
And it feels pointless to even entertain the prospect of them ever even considering the abolition of ICE in the first place, seeing as how the more likely outcome is that they're going to side with Republicans to increase ICE funding. I say this because, as journalist Pablo Manriquez points out, Senate Democrats got steamrolled once again by Republicans with an appropriations bill that adds millions of dollars in funding to DHS's ICE budget without any additional riders requiring them to unmask or wear badges. Now, at the time that I record this video, we don't know how many Democrats are going to support this. It seems like progressives are actually holding strong. Having said that...
So, fast forward to now, because this was 4 days ago. It seems like it seems okay, because I don't trust that their spine is going to hold very long. But it does seem like after the events of this weekend, it seems like Democrats are not happy about that.
Though, would we be surprised if a very large number of Democrats supported this?
Nope.
We wouldn't, right? We shouldn't be, if that's the case. We all know that a large portion of Democrats are going to vote for this and then sell it to us by saying that they won other useless concessions that we weren't asking for in other areas. This is what Rosa DeLauro, the ranking member of the Appropriations Committee, is already doing, even though she just said last week that she opposes ICE funding. But don't take it from me, she was pretty unequivocal about this.
I am going to set the record straight. I do not support an increase in ICE funding. Can I repeat that? I do not support increasing funding for ICE.
That's very reassuring. The problem is that fast forward to today, and she's already rationalizing a vote to, you guessed it, increase ICE funding. The Hill reports in endorsing a bill that would carry forward a huge spike in funding to ICE. Representative Rosa DeLauro, the senior Democrat on the House Appropriations Committee, acknowledged it excludes most of the ICE reforms Democrats have demanded since the January 7th shooting of Renee Good in Minneapolis. But a shutdown or a short-term spending patch, she argued, would be worse. Per Common Dream, she added, I understand that many of my Democratic colleagues may be dissatisfied with any bill that funds ICE. I share their frustration with the out-of-control agency, DeLauro said, while also stressing that the bill is more than just ICE. She specifically pointed to funding for the Federal Emergency Management Agency, Transportation Security Administration, and the U.S. Coast Guard. So I get that you're disappointed that the bill increases funding for ICE, but it also includes funding for the U.S. Coast Guard. Huh? You excited about that? That's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, so just to be clear, like, I don't care. Okay, I don't care. If the bill includes funding for ICE, then they need to vote no. It's that simple.
I mean, what am I supposed to even say? I shouldn't have to say this, but I couldn't give two shits about the motherfucking Coast Guard when state-sponsored terrorists are occupying U.S. cities. Like, they don't understand the gravity of the situation. ICE just snatched a half-naked elderly man from his home and detained him, only to bring him back hours later.
It's a screaming goat meme. Absolutely feckless. Yep. Undercover FBI agents or whatever to put on frowny faces to make it look like they sympathize with you while conspiring with the bad cops to throw you in prison or whatever. Yeah, we're in a freaking hostage situation, man. Democrats need to freeze ICE funding, nothing less. Yep.
After finding out that he is a U.S. citizen. Not that that kind of treatment would be acceptable to non-citizens, but when the barbarians have broken down the gates, you have to respond to that threat with the urgency that it requires. But time and again, Democrats are waving the white flag before the battle even begins.
Is that on the soundboard? Is that my subconscious breaking through? Nope. It's the I pulled up the sound in the background because that's exactly how I feel.
But as frustrating as it is to see them refuse to fight Republican fascists again and again and again, we have to remind ourselves that what we're witnessing, it's not incompetency, it's not stupidity, they're not out of touch. The Democratic Party, at least most of them, are choosing to not fight fascists because they are fascist collaborators. I'll say it again, they are fascist collaborators. For every AOC, there's about 20 or 30 John Fettermans. And I want you to test this theory, okay? If you have a Democratic representative, look at their statements about ICE, and then reference this graphic shared by Nina Turner to see if they were one of the 75 Democrats who voted to express gratitude for ICE back in 2025. And if you have a Democratic senator, take a look at what they're saying now, and then double check this rule.
Back in 2025, that was literally last year.
Article to see if they were one of the 12 Democrats who voted with Republicans for the unconstitutional Laken Riley Act, which stripped due process away from all immigrants, including Dreamers. You might even be surprised by some of those names, like Raphael Warnock, John Ossoff, and Ruben Gallego, because they're often portrayed in media as more progressive Democrats, but in actuality, when push comes to shove, they sided with Republicans. Hell, I know that you've gotten at least 12 texts from Mark Kelly and Alyssa Slotkin, like I have, and based on those texts, you would assume that they're at the front lines of the resistance, when in actuality, these...
No, I can't do it. I can't do it. If I got that many texts from politicians, campaigns or whatever, that would I think that would drive me genuinely insane. Yeah, last month. I'm glad I wasn't hallucinating the goat thing. No, that's me playing it in the background because that's the kind of stuff that I'm thinking about in the background. let's try to take a positive approach for a moment. Who do we as progressives have that at least hypothetically could run for president? That's a good question. I would have to see who is eligible, who would want to run, who is actually going to run, because like I would have to see who's actually going to get in there, because it's all like fun and games to imagine, but I mean, like, who is actually going to get in there? I don't know. I can't think of anybody. Maybe the closest person that I can think of off the top of my head that is eligible and that I would be like more comfortable voting for would be like AOC. Would be like AOC. This little cat has been trying to get on my lap. Oh, hey. Look at that. Look at this baby. Look, she's reading chat. Say hello, everybody. She's reading chat, so... Come on, kitty. Do you want to say hello? Yeah? No? Okay. She wants some snuggles and warmth, yeah. I've got the heater going on right now. Yeah, she is eligible, technically, yes. Jon Stewart, I think, honestly, for all of Jon Stewart's faults, I think I would vote. I think I would vote for Jon Stewart. What's her name? Vaquita the cat. Like this. But I will just post it lowercase. If you type her name, if you type her name with the uppercase, it does her little emote. Her name is Polymarket. Yeah, because that's who sponsors me. I mean, I would take him, to be honest. Yeah, I would too. Like I said, for all his faults, I would probably be fine with someone like a Jon Stewart in comparison to the phenomenal people that we've been, put it forward. Why does ICE need armies with crowd control weapons to serve as an administrative warrant? AOC, Jon Stewart. I'm gonna say Walz is still in it. I don't know about that. I think he's losing it. I think he's losing it. I want someone that is going to stand up, and I want somebody who's going to be like serious about anti-fascism. In a serious way.
These duplicitous cowards are partially responsible for the fascist mess that we're in right now in the first place.
We all hate Jon Stewart, don't we, folks? Jon Stewart is too woke.
Look at the way that Ruben Gallego pretended to oppose ICE after Jake Tapper pointed out that this man just voted to increase their funding last year.
A year ago, you voted to expand ICE.
Jake Tapper doing the Lord's work for 5 seconds.
Funding. What are you going to do this week, this time? Because Democratic Senator Chris Murphy said, quote, Democrats cannot vote for a Department of Homeland Security budget that doesn't restrain the growing lawlessness of this agency.
Yeah, he's 100% right, and I'm talking to him. If we cannot vote for anything that actually adds more money and doesn't constrain ICE, it's not what what we want out of ICE. Again, we want a security force that is focused on targeting and deporting criminals. What they're doing right now is none of that.
So he definitely doesn't want to abolish ICE because it would be crazy to abolish an agency that was created in 2003. But what he wants is certain things out of ICE. And he's not getting those things. So he just wants ICE to meet his expectations. Great job. I'm sure that Trump is shaking in his boots when he sees how the opposition party is asserting their disappointment about the way that Nazis are doing Nazi shit.
Yeah. So I think like someone pointed out in chat, in the majority report chat, I think it was today, that like Trump wipes his butt with stuff like this, because not only are they opposition to his agenda, supposedly on paper, on rhetoric or whatever, but they're also weak, like actually just weak, and Trump is really not responsive to any of that. Versus like Mamdani, for example, like not only did Mamdani challenge Trump, but he won the election, right? And Trump respected that to some degree. These people are just weak, not leaders.
This is why things are so bad right now, because there's no check on Trump's tyranny. None. And I want to be clear, in calling Democrats fascist collaborators, I'm not trying to create a false equivalence between them and Republicans, because they are unquestionably less bad than Republicans in every conceivable way. And I still believe, as bad as they are, the worst Democrat is still preferable to the best Republican. So I don't subscribe to both sides of them, because I genuinely don't believe that both sides are equally bad. Having said that,
agree.
The Democratic Party's complicity with Republican cruelty is part of the reason why we're
100%. Like just to be clear, like again, I think we all understand the problem, right? The problem is Republicans are fascists, and they've basically ushered in a new wave or new variant of American fascism based on, as Nadia puts it, a Christo-fascist agenda. That's how that's what we've basically unearthed here. But that does not excuse the nonsense that Democrats have been doing and are doing. Yeah, I love that emote.
We're in this predicament in the first place. If they tried to use their...
It's a huge problem right now to be in Bernie's sunset period and for us not to have a candidate to pivot to. I mean, like, I think one will emerge. And I think one of the people that should be up the front would be AOC. I mean, seriously. If anyone seriously challenged a Christo-fascist agenda, they'd just be assassinated like JFK. Maybe. Maybe. F it, Eminem for president. Slim Shady for president, not better than not so Slim Shady. Yeah. Elected Democrats are basically Republican secret agents. I like to call them Republican light.
Power to fight the looming threat of fascism over the last couple of decades,
or
and
try pretending to be Republican light,
to meaningfully address people's declining material conditions. I don't actually believe that people would have been desperate enough to fall for a fascist demagogue like Trump in the first place.
And then
so to the extent that we can boot Republicans from power for purposes of harm reduction, I'm all for that. I think we should try to do that. Elections do still matter, assuming that they're still free and fair. But let's not pretend like the Democratic Party is going to save us, because I'm afraid that that ship has sailed. Our only hope at this point is to bind together and use our labor as leverage while we still have that, because it's only a matter of time before AI takes the rest of our jobs. But the good news, leaders and activists in Minneapolis are doing just that. On January 23rd, they're holding
and again, this is how you stand up to fascism. Fascists are just bullies.
General strike to drive ICE out of their state once and for all. They've agreed to do work stoppages, pause consumer spending, and not go to school in order to grind their state's economy to a halt to send a message to
general strikes. I agree.
Local leaders,
shoulder to shoulder, and stand with your citizens. Okay, stand with your local neighbors. Stand with your local labor movement. Okay, your local union. That's the key.
They're not going to tolerate this bullshit any longer. And some New Yorkers are even pledging to do the same in order to stand in solidarity with Minneapolis. And something like this can't be successful unless enough people do it, because in order to have leverage over the economy, you need people to turn out in big numbers. Because, you know, if protesting doesn't get the attention of leaders, then hitting their donors where it hurts the most will, which is their wallets. So in order to make an impact, to make a dent in the economy, cripple it potentially, you need a lot of people to get involved. So this is going to be something to watch very closely, because if they're successful here, maybe it can happen at the national level. Who knows? But there does need to be organizational muscle behind this and a coherent set of demands. Otherwise, it's just not going to be successful. It's very difficult to pull off. But the way you build support for something like this is to get the rest of the country to see that politics as usual is not going to save us.
Yep. And Democrats need to learn this, or they're just not going to win. It's that simple. I agree. Bill Clinton was the best Republican president we've ever had. Yes, and that's the problem. Okay? And that's the problem. That they learned the entirely wrong lesson from the Reagan era.
Hoping for the...
Or maybe that's just it. They were just captured by capital and warped and destroyed for decades.
Manifestation of a democratic savior is not going to do anything. If you think that that's the case, then hope in one hand and shit in the other and see which one fills up faster. It's time for all of us to recognize that a new radical form of politics is what is required to address the threat posed by radical fascists. And on that note, I'm going to leave you with a clip from comedian Jeffrey Asman.
Hasn't been a Democrat since Carter. It'll take a multi-pronged strategy to take this country back, do what we can, where we can, in my opinion. I agree. Just vote for the weakest rep in the primary. You know your Dem can beat. It's a game. I agree. That's yeah, sure. Whatever gets Republicans out of power. Because, like, just to be clear, like, getting Republicans out of power is praxis in itself. Yeah. Democrats are just Republicans flying false flags. I think some of them are. And again, it's all coming down to the same thing. They're just captured by capital, and capital is always going to lean towards a more, a right ideology.
Who is going to explain why Americans need to once and for all shed their centrism and milquetoast liberalism, because it's simply not going to cut it at a time when fascists have already conquered the country. So enjoy.
You can't be liberal anymore. You got to go further left than the Democrats right now. They've given up on us. We got to move. Because liberals are such fucking losers. I can't be part of that bullshit. They're such pussies. Liberals, like when Republicans get mad, they form a militia and storm the Capitol. When liberals get mad, they knit a hat that says, "Fuck Trump." It's just so embarrassing. Liberals still think art is powerful. Isn't that so embarrassing? Like, my poetry will stop fascism. Like...
Well, now hold on. I mean, art is powerful, but you kind of have to like understand that the art is to manifest that power. The reason why we do art, as far as like politics, is to unite people. That's why you do art. When people write political songs like Jesse Wells, when people write political music like Green Day or Rage Against the Machine, it's to unite and solidify the working class. That's why you do it. Right, but I voted for Haley because Biden was already the candidate, but I wouldn't vote Republican in the final election. Yep. Fascists already conquered the U.S. Yes, and it's our job to stand up to them.
Buy a fucking gun or shut up. I'm done.
This outro music goes really hard. All right, folks. We got to. Whoa! What happened here? Hello, hello, hello. Did we lose everybody? Ah, looks like chat disappeared on me. Art is powerful, but it's not the tool for this job. Okay, so you see and hear me. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I guess some of the chat is kind of weird. We hear you. Okay, the stream is good. I just wasn't seeing the chat. Y'all disappeared for a moment there. Okay. It took the Red Army to stand up to them, and there's no more Red Army, and the PLA is not setting foot outside Chinese borders. I mean, yeah, but we can all unite. Like, we can all be the ones to lock hands together. That's the only way this works. Jesse will scold the people for criticizing CK? Like Louis CK? Boo. Anyways, before we get out of here, let's just go through some of this stuff. So what happened this weekend is another murder is what happened. It was an execution in broad daylight again. And this one was even more brazen. This one was even this one it's kind of like sick to say. It's sickening to say and sickening to come to the realization of this, but it was even more unambiguous, if that's even like do you all know what I'm trying to say? Like the footage, the angles, the videos, there is no doubt, there is no doubt, there is nothing that this administration can say, okay, that Nazi fascist thug Bovino, or whatever the heck his name is, there's nothing the president can say, there's nothing Kristi Noem can say that will contradict the plain and clear, if you've seen the videos, can contradict the plain and clear videos that everyone saw. Okay? That everyone saw. This should anger you. This is the type of stuff that should unite people together and understand what we are dealing with. Okay? Everyone who is not a Nazi, fascist, thug, sympathizer, collaborator, or outright just believing that ICE is doing good, anyone who is not that. So, in other words, any decent human being that is still out there, okay, that is still out there and has seen this and understands that this was unacceptable, this was a straight execution where they grabbed this man, okay, where they grabbed this man who was shielding a woman at the time and trying to get her up after they pepper sprayed her or just bear maced her. They grabbed him, they slammed him, they beat him, and then they shot him. That is the chain. That is the chain of events that everybody saw. Okay, so if you are not a fascist sympathizer, if you are not a fascist thug yourself, and you are still a decent human being, this should anger you. This is the type of stuff that people are on the streets for. This is the type of stuff that people are getting out on the streets for. And you need to join them. Okay? And you need to join them. If you're a normie and you're just now kind of understanding the severity of the issue, if you're now understanding, if it's now starting to click, if you're not one of those people who are super tuned into politics and you don't listen, okay? Well, hello, hi, super in tuned into politics person here, along with dozens of super in tuned political people in the chat. Now's that time. Now's that time to show up, okay? Show up for your fellow citizen. Show up for Renee Good. Show up for Alex Brady, who was just absolutely executed, okay? This is unacceptable. This is the type of stuff that should make you angry, okay? This is the type of stuff that should make you angry. And we need to take that anger and we need to use it and we need to channel it, okay? That means let's get inspired about how we get organized together. I don't care how, I don't care what you do. I don't care if you're just a social media coordinator, okay, blasting memes 24/7 to try to bring people together. I don't care if you're the person organizing live protests in your city. I don't care if you're just joining a protest in your city. I don't care if you're just donating $5 to the DSA or whatever, or to the Minneapolis. There's several Minneapolis organizations that need funding to help the people there. Whatever it is that you can do, okay? Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do. If the only thing that you can do is band together and talk about it with friends and make groups, and make groups, whether it be in real life or social media, to try to get people to spread the word, so be it. If all you can do as someone who wants to leave their impact, okay, in this very, very heavy and dark place, if all you can do is talk to a family member or talk to a friend, okay, to show them what's happening and get them riled up, okay, and get them angry and get them to start doing action, then so be it. Let that be your impact, okay? Is Ahmad a troll? Yes, okay, heck yeah. To disrupt fascists? Heck yeah. We are in a dark place, but with all that said, we're all here together. We're all in this together. Okay? Thank you for stopping by, Manju Misty. Appreciate it and take care. Yeah, and it should make you sick, and that is a completely normal response. And just like being angry, and just like being sad, and just like being anxious and scared, okay? All of those are valid emotions. All of those are valid emotions, okay? And that's fair, and understand that. Yes, we're all scared. We're all angry. We're all anxious, okay? Now we need to take that. We need to take that and stand shoulder to shoulder together, okay? That's the only way, okay? This regime wants you to be scared. They want you to shut up. They want you to be afraid. They want you to see that straight execution, and they want you to believe that that's you next. If you keep standing up to us, if you keep standing up to this, you could be next. And you know what? I say screw that. These people are cowards and bullies, okay? Instead, We are going to stand shoulder to shoulder, protect each other. Protect each other, protect your friends, protect your fellow immigrant community, support them, and however you can. Again, what you do is entirely up to you, because not everybody can do the same things. Not everybody can do the same things, and that's okay. What was the woman doing in that time? Random attack on both citizens. The crime was filming ICE. That's what she was doing. That was her heavy crime. That was her heavy crime that got her maced, and then consequently was attempted to be helped by this hero. Alex Preddy. She was filming ICE. That was her crime. At no point did anyone there break any laws whatsoever. At no point did Alex Preddy break any laws. Okay, despite what this administration is saying, despite what that fascist thug is saying, despite what Trump is tweeting about or whatever the heck, truthing about, so Orwellian, but whatever. Despite what Kristi Noem is going out and saying, he never broke any laws. At no point did he break any laws. I see. I didn't know the other side of things. Yeah. So just to kind of put it all into context, there were several people that were going around and filming ICE. That's what was happening. It wasn't just her. It wasn't just him. There's several people, because there's like squads of observers out in Minneapolis, rightfully so, with whistles and cameras, documenting and filming ICE, which is 100% within anyone's rights. Okay, no one was obstructing anything. No one was committing any crimes whatsoever. Exactly, exercising her rights. So that's what was happening. It wasn't just the woman. There were several observers there exercising their First Amendment rights to record ICE, which is absolutely our right, and you should still do it, by the way. Okay, do not be afraid of these fascist thugs. Okay, because they want you to be afraid. They want you to think that if you record them, you could be next. Okay, and they will use examples like this. Okay. To instill fear in you, when in reality it is the opposite. Okay, we need to stand up. We need to do more of that. We need to unite. Find local chat groups. Okay, secure local chat groups that alert you where ICE is. Okay, so that you know where ICE is. And you can help your community just by joining these groups and saying, "Hey, I found ICE activity on such and such corner of whatever." Okay, that is not illegal, and that is absolutely necessary during these times. Okay. 1 second, folks. It makes things so much more horrific. Thanks, Alex, for standing up for her. Yes, he gave literally everything. Okay, just like how just exactly like how he lived. Okay, the man, if just to give another like a background to this hero, he was literally an intensive care unit nurse for veterans. Okay, for veterans. Okay, seriously, folks, do not let these people intimidate you. Do not let these people, scare you, okay? These are weak little men, okay? Going around in masks, okay? Pretending, to cosplay, their white supremacist militia fantasy, okay? Do not let them scare you, okay? I understand that people are scared. and that is a valid sentiment. I'm saying let's take that, okay? Let's take that fear, let's take that anger, let's take that despair, and use it. Okay? Absolute dog shit, yep. A woke, a difficult truth should know it's called Truth Social. Does he even know what the hell truth is? Thank you for your attention to this matter. Yeah, weak little piglets. I don't care if he wasn't a VA ICU nurse. He doesn't have to be a hero to not deserve to be murdered. Don't play into any of that BS. Oh, no, I agree. I agree. It really doesn't matter what he was or wasn't. However, I think that to the normies, I just want to instill this, that if they can do it to someone like him, they can do it to anybody. Does that make sense? If they can do it to him, a just straight white gun-toting dude, okay, who was a VA nurse, right? You see where I'm going with this? If they can do that to him, they can do that to you, and they can do that to anybody. And no one's stopping them. Unless we stand up. Welcome, Ano. The femicide of Rene Good demonstrates that. Yep. The normies need to know this has always been. Yep. Park Rose has a good video about that from yesterday. I need to check it out. But I'm a big fan of permaculture. Park Rose permaculture. However weak they may be, the bars of their prison cells are still far stronger than I am. Yeah, but my point is that it shouldn't just be you by yourself, because yes, you by yourself, scary. If it's all of us, much different. Alright, folks, I gotta get out of here. So somebody earlier made a mention of, like, they are, I think it was Nadia, right? Was it Nadia or somebody else? Pam Bondi, essentially gave away exactly the game here. So just to be clear, like, anyone who's pretending that this is about actual immigration enforcement is lost, okay? Anyone who thinks that this is about immigration enforcement is lost. This is about an authoritarian takeover, and Pam Bondi just gave us the game right here. So essentially, like, this is really, like, kind of irrelevant. But the point being is, I just want to provide context here. So Pam Bondi is essentially saying that that she is willing to withdraw ICE if Minnesota gives the federal government the voter rolls. So that obviously begs the question, like, wait a minute, hold on, wait. So you're saying that you're gonna remove ICE if you give up the voter rolls? So, in other words, we will withdraw our paramilitary force that's pretending to do immigration enforcement, whatever the heck that is, as long as you provide the federal government the voter rolls, then we'll leave. That's it. That's the game. That is the game right there. They just gave it away. Like, it's so out and brazen that they're just saying it outright. And as an attorney representing the state described Bondi's request as a ransom note, because that's exactly what this is, right? When they say you need to comply, right? You need to comply or die. That's not the language of the federal government. That's the language of hostage. This is a hostage situation, okay? They just want to know who didn't vote for Trump so they can build their database of enemies. I mean, I didn't vote for Trump. Hello, right here. I gotta go, but thank you, Carlos. I appreciate that. Thank you, BCat. Comply or die quickly turn into comply and die anyways. It always does. It always does. Anyways, the point being is that what chat was saying earlier, yes, this is true. I think Nadia was the one that said it was confirmed. Yeah, absolutely. So we can see what exactly is the game here, right? This is not about immigration enforcement. This is about terrorizing the perceived political opponents into submission. That's what this is, okay? There's no reason the federal government needs any of that, okay? They claim that they need that information to make sure that there is no voter fraud, but there's no basis on any of that. And the Minnesota government should just say no, which apparently it has. So this is not about law enforcement. This is not about immigration enforcement. This is only about submission, okay? This is only about submission. And as someone pointed out, and rightfully so, Trump wants this data to interfere with the upcoming midterm elections because he knows he's cooked. He knows that if he doesn't do this, he's cooked. So he's going to try everything, every play in the book that he has to try to make that happen. So just be aware of that. And again, don't let these people intimidate you. You show up anyways. Okay? Apathy and being paralyzed to the point where you can't function is exactly where they want you to be. Okay? But not us. Okay? Not us. What we are going to do is take that energy, again, because they are trying. They are trying to break us. They are trying to break us. A strong government doesn't do that, okay? They are trying to break us because they are weak. They can't. Abuse of power, this isn't about voting. Trump is delusional. Yep. 100%. Trump is delusional, but he's dangerous. Nonetheless. You should watch what Hugo Chavez said back in 2009. Can I get a TLDR before we get out of here? Alright folks, it's time for me to start heading out. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. My voice is already kind of it's kind of dying, so appreciate all of you guys being here. Check out the links, folks, if you want to support the channel. There are many different ways of doing so. Thank you, Heat. Thank you, Michael Hasser, for modding the chat. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you to all the new follows that hanged out today. I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you to YouTube. Thank you to Twitch, folks, for being here. Join the Discord, folks. Yes, and if you want to support the channel directly, there's the links right there. No, appreciate you. Thank you. W stream, thank you. He said it's the most important to the proletariat to continue. Nice, yeah. Michael Hasser got him. Thank you, appreciate it. Check out the links there. He said the most important importance of the proletariat is to continue to these nuts. Thank you. All right, folks, I gotta get out of here. Seriously, thank you all for being here. Solidarity to everyone, okay? Because everyone is in this together. So again, stand together, shoulder to shoulder. Stand with the people of Minneapolis. Stand with your local people. Everyone. This is an all hands on deck. This is an all hands on deck thing. Okay. So please do everyone a favor and do what you can. Okay. I didn't know you were still streaming. That's cool. Hey, feel free to always shout yourself out. Yeah, suck it, enemies, exactly. Thank you all for being here. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. Viana, hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow, 7 p.m. on this space. See ya! Look at that. Look at that. Look at that baby. Oh, she's gonna bite me now. That's not very nice. See ya! I plan to lock in next month. The week is a free trial. Well, feel free to shout yourself out. Alright, folks, hang tight. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye bye.